Welcome to the episode of Biogeography series. A geographic range limit is the geographic boundary beyond which a species does not occur. Core populations are populations of individuals occurring within the center of the range, and peripheral or edge populations are groups of individuals near the boundary of the range. The inability of a species to expand its range beyond these limits is because of some factor or factors that constrain the species from adapting to overcome the factors that are imposing limits on its distribution. In some cases, geographical range limits are entirely predictable, such as the physical barrier of an ocean for a terrestrial species. In other cases, reasons why species do not pass these boundaries are unknown. However, the main determinants of the distribution of a species across its range are ecological and evolutionary processes. Sometimes a distinction is made between a species' natural, endemic or native range where it historically originated and lived, and the range where a species has more recently established itself. Many terms are used to describe the new range, such as non-native, naturalized, introduced, transplanted, invasive or colonized range. Introduced typically means that a species has been transported by humans intentionally or accidentally across a major geographical barrier. For species found in different regions at different times of year, terms such as summer range and winter range are often employed. For species for which only part of the range is used for breeding activity, the terms breeding range and non-breeding range are not used. For mobile animals, the term natural range is often used as opposed to areas where it occurs as a vagrant. Geographic range size and how it changes is one of the fundamental ecological and evolutionary characteristics of a species. The interplay between resource availability, physiological tolerance and capacity is one common explanation for geographic range limits and retraction. So, whilst apes may display some flexibility and be able to adapt their behavior to persistent threats where tolerances and capacities are constrained and environmental demands exceed these, species may be unable to persist. For example, chimpanzees probably once spanned most of equatorial Africa from South Senegal to southwest Tanzania, ranging overall or part of at least 25 countries, while still the most widely distributed of Africa's apes, they now occur in 22 countries. They have been completely extirpated from Benin and Togo, possibly from Burkina Faso, and are very close to this in Senegal and Ghana. The reason for range retraction and change is complex, and threats vary temporally and spatially. Coinciding with range reaction has been widespread deforestation. The expansion of farming and infrastructure at all scales increased access to military firearms and human population growth. Objectives of this lesson are to know about factors affecting geographical range, distributional patterns, statistical determination of distribution patterns, changing range limits, effects of climate. Factors affecting geographical range. The distribution of species depends on different abiotic and biotic factors. Any non-living chemical or physical factor in the environment is considered an abiotic factor. There are three main types of abiotic factors. Climatic factors consist of sunlight, atmosphere, humidity, temperature and salinity. Edaphic factors are abiotic factors regarding soil, such as the coarseness of soil, local geology, soil pH and aeration. And social factors include land use and water availability. An example of the effects of abiotic factors on species distribution can be seen in drier areas where most individuals of a species will gather around water sources forming a clumped distribution. Gradients in climatic factors create physiological barriers to dispersal. All species have limits of tolerance to abiotic factors which can lower their survival and reproductive success and limit range expansion beyond the edge. Changes in temperature may cause a species to change its geographical distribution. With increasing temperatures resulting from global warming, species have been seen to expand their range northward due to increased survival and reproduction as a result of warming. Precipitation can also be a key determinant in limiting the geographic range edges of species. This is often seen in organisms with high water demands, whose survival and reproduction would decrease beyond the edge due to dry conditions, limiting expansion. Moisture of soil or air is also seen to limit range expansion. In terms of soil moisture, limited range expansion for species that forage on soil organisms or for species that reside in soil and rely on it for nutrients are seen. If moisture requirements are not met beyond the species range, they will not be able to expand due to resulting reduction in fitness. There are many other abiotic factors that can determine a species range, including dissolved oxygen, canopy cover, conductivity and pH. Biotic factors such as predation, disease and competition for resources such as food, water and mates can also affect how a species is distributed. A biotic factor is any behavior of an organism that affects another organism, such as a predator consuming its prey. For example, biotic factors in a quail's environment would include their prey, competition from other quail and other predators such as the coyote. An advantage of a herd, community or other clump distribution allows a population to detect predators earlier at a greater distance and potentially mount an effective defense. Due to limited resources, populations may be evenly distributed to minimize competition, as is found in forests where competition for sunlight produces an even distribution of trees. Interactions between species can cause limitations to a species' geographic range. The most obvious interaction that limits range expansion is predation, where prey species do not move beyond their range to avoid predator attack and mortality. Geographic range edges can also be determined by competition, where less competitive species are forced into suboptimal conditions within the range to avoid stress of reduced food and habitat. The geographic range of one species may be linked to another, where the range of one species cannot extend independent of the other. This is seen in mutualistic relationships, where fitness and population growth are reduced outside of the host's range, where the symbiont is not present. Parasitism can also play a role in limiting the expansion of species outside of their range. This occurs when there is a higher presence of infection at the range edges that reduces population's growth and survivorship and ultimately reduces further expansion. Higher parasite presence can occur when abiotic conditions are unfavorable at the edge, leading to lower resistance of species to the infection. Humans are responsible for causing changes to the environment and habitat those plants and animals rely on for survival. These impacts have the potential to alter species behaviors, interactions and distributions. Many areas are deforested in order to provide land for agriculture or industrial use. Deforestation can cause loss of habitat for millions of species and can cause expansion or contraction of their geographic range. For species that require deforested land, they may expand their range to take advantage of new habitat. However, for species that require forest for survival, their geographic range may decrease or change completely. Global warming resulting from greenhouse gases emitted into the air has been seen to cause changes in species dispersal and geographic distribution. Due to rising temperatures, organisms move northward to reach slightly colder temperatures to track the environmental niche they are adapted to. This allows them to continue stable survival and reproduction and ultimately sustain their population. Humans have also initiated many range expansions by transporting species to new locations both intentionally and accidentally. These introduced species can survive and reproduce in these new locations and expand their geographic range as long as conditions are suitable. These species may also cause changes in the geographic range of native species that cannot tolerate competition from invasive species which possess novel ways of using resources. Distribution patterns. The most common types of distribution are clumped or clustered, regular or uniform, random or scattered. Clumped distribution is the most common type of dispersion found in nature. In clumped distribution, the distance between neighboring individuals is minimized. This type of distribution is found in environments that are characterized by patchy resources. Animals need certain resources to survive, and when these resources become rare during certain parts of the year, animals tend to clump together around these crucial resources. Individuals might be clustered together in an area due to social factors such as selfish herds and family groups. Organisms that usually serve as prey form clump distributions in areas where they can hide and detect predators easily. Other causes of clump distributions are the inability of offspring to independently move from their habitat. This is seen in juvenile animals that are immobile and strongly dependent upon parental care. For example, the bald eagle's nest of eaglets exhibits a clumped species distribution because all the offsprings are in a small subset of a survey area before they learn to fly. Clump distribution can be beneficial to the individuals in that group. However, in some herbivore cases such as cows and wild beasts, the vegetation around them can suffer, especially if animals target one plant in particular. Clump distribution in a species acts as a mechanism against predation as well as an efficient mechanism to trap or corner prey. African wild dogs, Lycaon pictus, use the technique of communal hunting to increase their success rate of catching prey. Studies have shown that larger packs of African wild dogs tend to have a greater number of successful kills. A prime example of clump distribution due to patchy resources is the wildlife in Africa during the dry season. Lions, hyenas, giraffes, elephants, gazelles and many more animals are clumped by smaller water sources that are present in the severe dry season. It has also been observed that extinct and threatened species are more likely to be clumped in their distribution on a phylogeny. The reasoning behind is that they share traits that increase vulnerability to extinction because related taxa are often located within the same broad geographical or habitat types where human-induced threats are concentrated. Using recently developed complete phylogenies for mammalian carnivores and primates, it has been shown that the majority of instances of threatened species are far from randomly distributed among taxa and phylogenetic clades and display clumped distribution. Less common than clump distribution, uniform distribution, also known as even distribution, is evenly spaced. Uniform distributions are found in populations in which the distance between neighboring individuals is maximized. The need to maximize the space between individuals generally arises from competition for a resource such as moisture or nutrients, or as a result of direct social interactions between individuals within the population, such as territoriality. For example, penguins often exhibit uniform spacing by aggressively defending their territory among their neighbors. Plants also exhibit uniform distributions like the creosote bushes in the southwestern region of the United States. Salvia leucophylla is a species in California that naturally grows in uniform spacing. This flower releases chemicals called terpenes, which inhibit the growth of other plants around it and results in uniform distribution. This is an example of allelopathy, which is the release of chemicals from plant pods by leaching, root exudation, volatilization, residue decomposition and other processes. Allelopathy can have beneficial, harmful or neutral effects on surrounding organisms. Some allelochemicals even have selective effects on surrounding organisms. For example, the tree species Leucaena leucosophila exudes a chemical that inhibits the growth of other plants but not those of its own species and thus can affect the distribution of specific rival species. Allelopathy usually results in uniform distributions and its potential to suppress weeds is being researched. Farming and agricultural practices often create uniform distribution in areas where it would not previously exist. For example, orange trees growing in rows on a plantation. Random distribution, also known as unpredictable spacing, is the least common form of distribution in nature and occurs when the members of a given species are found in homogeneous environments in which the position of each individual is independent of the other individuals. They neither attract nor repel one another. Random distribution is rare in nature as biotic factors such as the interactions with neighboring individuals and abiotic factors such as climate or soil conditions generally cause organisms to be either clustered or spread apart. Random distribution usually occurs in habitats where environmental conditions and resources are consistent. This pattern of dispersion is characterized by the lack of any strong social interactions between species. For example, when dandelion seeds are dispersed by wind, random distribution will often occur as the seedlings land in random places determined by uncontrollable factors. Oyster larvae can also travel hundreds of kilometers powered by sea currents, which can result in their random distribution. Statistical determination of distribution patterns. There are various ways to determine the distribution pattern of species. The Clark-Evans nearest neighbor method can be used to determine if a distribution is clumped, uniform or random. To utilize the Clark-Evans nearest neighbor method, researchers examine a population of a single species. The distance of an individual to its nearest neighbor is recorded for each individual in the sample. For two individuals that are each other's nearest neighbor, the distance is recorded twice, once for each individual. To receive accurate results, it is suggested that the number of distance measurements is at least 50. The average distance between the nearest neighbors is compared to the expected distance in the case of random distribution to give the ratio. If this ratio R is equal to 1, the population is randomly dispersed. If R is significantly greater than 1, the population is evenly dispersed. Lastly, if R is significantly less than 1, the population is clumped. Statistical tests such as t-test, chi-squared, etc. can then be used to determine whether R is significantly different from 1. The variance mean ratio method focuses mainly on determining whether a species fits a randomly spaced distribution, but can also be used as evidence for either an even or clumped distribution. To utilize the variance mean ratio method, data is collected from several random samples of a given population. In this analysis, it is imperative that data from at least 50 sample plots is considered. The number of individuals present in each sample is compared to the expected counts in the case of random distribution. If the variance mean ratio is equal to 1, the population is found to be randomly distributed. If it is significantly greater than 1, the population is found to be clump distribution. Finally, if the ratio is significantly less than 1, the population is found to be evenly distributed. Typical statistical tests used to find the significance of the variance mean ratio include students, t-test and chi-squared. However, many researchers believe that species distribution models based on statistical analysis without including ecological models and theories are too incomplete for prediction. Instead of conclusions based on presence-absence data, probabilities that convey the likelihood a species will occupy a given area are more preferred because these models include an estimate of confidence in the likelihood of the species being present or absent. Additionally, they are also more valuable than data collected based on simple presence or absence because models based on probability allow the formation of spatial maps that indicates how likely a species is to be found in a particular area. Similar areas can then be compared to see how likely it is that a species will occur there also. This leads to a relationship between habitat suitability and species occurrence. Changing range limits. Species range can change over time. Many species have different summer and winter ranges. Canada geese, Branta canadensis, spend summers in Canada and the northern United States but migrate to the southern US and northern Mexico during winter. Some species also have different ranges for breeding. Many species of Pacific salmon have a freshwater range and a saltwater range. They hatch and spend their early lives in streams. On reaching adulthood, they migrate to the ocean. Some salmon stay within a few hundred kilometers of their home stream, while others, like the Chinook salmon, can travel as far as 4,023 kilometers, that is 2,500 miles. During reproduction, salmon return to their freshwater range. The eggs hatch in the freshwater and the cycle begins again. Humans have changed the range of many species by transporting them. These are introduced species. Introduction can happen accidentally when a living thing hitches a ride with unsuspecting human travelers. This has been happening for thousands of years. The disjunct distribution of the Eurasian pygmy shrew, for instance, is probably a result of introduction. Scientific research shows that the Irish population of Eurasian pygmy shrews appeared about the same time that Europeans sailed to Ireland and established settlements there. People continue to accidentally introduce species to new ranges today. The natural range of the zebra mussel is Central Asia, in lakes and the Black and Caspian seas. In the 20th century, these animals were accidentally transported beyond Asia when they attached themselves to large cargo ships. They eventually reached the Great Lakes of North America, where they established a new range. Zebra mussels, like many introduced species, are a major threat to native species of the area. For example, the brown tree snake, native to Australia and nearby islands, was accidentally transported to Guam through air or ship cargo. Few local animals could defend themselves against this new predator, and the brown tree snake caused the extinction of many native birds and lizards on the island. Because some of the animals it killed were pollinators, many native plant species also declined. People also introduced species to new ranges on purpose. People transport plants and animals to use for food, decoration, pest control or pets. One of the most famous examples of an introduced species is Burmese python. In the Florida Everglades, people kept the snakes, whose native range is the jungles of Southeast Asia, as pets. The care and feeding of Burmese pythons is intense, and some pet owners who could not support the reptiles simply release the snakes into the wetlands of the Everglades. The pythons thrive in the Everglades which has a hot humid climate similar to Southeast Asian jungles. Pythons compete with native species like the American alligator for food and resources. Effects of climate. The Earth's changing climate affects species range. Ranges can move, shrink or grow as a result of climate changes. Sometimes changes in climate can even cause species to go extinct. For instance, many animals that were adapted to ice age conditions such as mastodons, mammoths and saber-toothed cats no longer exist in today's warmer climate. Earth's climate has changed many times over the course of our planet's lifespan. These changes happen as a result of natural events and cycles. Today, human activities are contributing to climate change. This global warming has an effect on the ranges of many organisms. European bee-eaters, for instance, are brightly colored birds native to the Mediterranean coast of Europe and Northern Africa. In the 20th century, bee-eaters began to be spotted in Central Europe. Today, their range includes nesting sites in Germany and the Czech Republic countries that once would have been too cold for these warm weather birds. In aquatic environments, climate change favors warm water species. On the Atlantic coast of the US, brown shrimp, grouper and southern flounder are expanding their range from the Carolinas to the Chesapeake Bay. Unfortunately, creatures that have traditionally lived in the bay, including rockfish, sturgeon and clams, are threatened by warming temperatures and increased competition for resources. Species that are considered pests or that spread diseases can wreak havoc on local populations when their ranges expand. For example, many species of the spruce budworm are destructive to evergreen trees in western North America. The insect's traditional range includes the forests of the US state of Washington and the Canadian province of British Columbia. Warming temperatures are allowing this caterpillar to eat its way northward, all the way from the US state of Alaska for the first time in history. The expanded range of the spruce budworm threatens the American and Canadian timber industries. Many species of mosquito are expanding their range as the climate grows warmer. Mosquitoes carry a variety of diseases that can be deadly to people: malaria, encephalitis, West Nile virus and yellow fever. Many communities and healthcare organizations are unprepared for the increased number of cases brought by mosquitoes' expanded range. Range size is a strong predictor of extinction risk and thus contributes to indices of global trends in threat status and to the prioritization of species for conservation effort. For example, of the 4,440 threatened species in groups for which Red List assessment is complete or nearly so, approximately 50% are listed on the basis of geographic range criteria alone. Understanding geographic range facilitates species-wide conservation planning. Thank you.